Hello, this is Leslie Walker Hirsch for Glass Alliance, New Mexico, and today it is my pleasure to be speaking and visiting with artist and sculptor in glass, Curt Sullan. Curt is from Colorado and has been an architect and a master builder. Now he makes architectural, gorgeous, gigantic, beautiful glass sculptures. Curt has come to Santa Fe as a maestro artist a couple of months ago, and that's where I met him. Curt, hi, I'm glad you're here today.
Good morning.
Well, it's great to see you, and it's great to have someone in the same time zone. So I've seen your great sculptures at the Globe Gallery, but they're indescribable. How would you yourself describe your work?
Well, all of my pieces are large kiln cast pieces of glass that are usually jacketed with steel. And the steel is often in the front of the sculpture and behind the sculpture, so I use the glass material to see through the glass and see objects behind the glass.
That's amazing. It's so much like a building and so much like an architectural marvel. So how did you come to be an architect and transfer your architecture into glass art?
Well, let me. I think that I'm not an architect. My father was an architect in Chicago, but I'm in the construction industry, so I deal a lot with architecture in my construction job. Yes, I've always been involved in architecture. My father had an office in Chicago where I grew up, and I would often go down to his office in downtown Chicago and build balsa wood models, that type of thing. So that's always been an interest of mine. And eventually, I started a career in art and decided to move into construction after I was unable to afford living in Washington, D.C. as an artist for the National Zoo. I worked at the National Zoo as a graphic artist and then went on to a construction profession.
Wow. So all of your different careers have funneled into making these great works.
That's right. It's all, everything has influenced my work, absolutely.
Now, Curt, you've sent me a photo of one of your works. Can you say why you chose that photo and what you like about it?
Well, this piece is called Cylinder, and it's a large block of glass with a void in it and a steel cylinder hanging in the void. And that particular piece I enjoy. I like the contrast between the glass and the steel. Also, it was a large block of glass. I think it's about 7 inches by 7 inches by about 48 inches long. And I think it weighs, I would guesstimate about 200 pounds. And when you get into that thickness of glass, 7 inches thick by 7 inches wide, you need to cool that glass in the oven from about, it goes all the way up to about 1,500 degrees to melt. Then you drop it down to 900 degrees to stabilize all the heat at the same temperature. Once the heat is stabilized, then you move from 950 degrees approximately down to room temperature over probably 3 months. So it just takes a long time in these kilns to drop the temperature without breaking it. And the problem with big glass cast pieces is that they often break if there are temperature fluctuations in the kiln. Sometimes the elements are firing, and then sometimes they're not firing, and so you can get problems inside the kiln that you're not aware of until you open the kiln 3 months later and see that some of the pieces are broken. So it's an involved process. Not many artists do it because blown glass, you would make the glass on day one, and you'd have it in the storefront on day 3. Typically, it's a quick turnaround, whereas cast glass, especially the larger pieces, it takes 3 to 5 months to do. Take it out of the kiln, sand it, polish it, and then put it into a sculpture, and then eventually put it in the storefront.
You are a patient man.
I am.
And how do you move those giant things? You can't exactly pick them up and put them on your desk, can you?
No. And unfortunately, a long time ago, bought a old beat up building that has 30-inch wide doors, and that's my studio. The problem with it is I can't get a forklift in there, so everything has to be hand moved about. I have myself and a couple of friends who I'm draining my friendship with because it's helped me a lot of times, and that's only going so far. But yeah, it's all handled by people. And it takes, 4 or 5 persons usually to lift these things off the floor and into a vertical position.
So, these are very large pieces. Most people's homes can't really accommodate that on a shelf in the living room. So they might want to put that in a sculpture garden or outside of their office building. And does that work out with them?
It does. I think that most of my pieces have been outside, especially in Santa Fe, which is hot, and then it's cold at night, which is the biggest test, is fluctuations in temperature. And so far, everything's been okay. I would say, though, that the really big pieces are probably not recommended to be in the sunshine. And then a cold night, I'm not sure that's a wise idea. But as a result of that concern, I'm making the pieces not so thick, and I'm moving in a direction that they're a little more portable with the same effect and actually better effect because you can see through the glass to the back. So I would say that this cylinder sculpture is a thick piece, but most of my other sculptures, which are on my website, CurtSullan2019061111, are thinning out in the glass, and so as a result, then we're not so concerned about the temperature fluctuations possibly damaging the glass.
Great. And I know that we can see your stuff online on your website, but also if our readers and watchers live in Santa Fe, your things are on display beautifully in the Sculpture Garden at Globe Gallery on Canyon Road.
Right. It's a fantastic gallery. The owner, Steve, is very accomplished artist himself and has incredible paintings and sculptures in there. And I'm flattered, that he even considered mine. I really appreciate his taste in art. Very contemporary, nice stuff.
That's great, Curt. So thank you so much for getting onto Skype and for spending this time talking with our viewers from Glass Alliance, New Mexico, in a video interview. Curt, thanks so much.
I appreciate yes, Leslie, I appreciate the opportunity. Thank you so much.
Great. Talk to you soon. So long. Bye-bye.